Hey Floor, how are you? Welcome to the stream. I'm just working on page 39 of my comic. I really want to finish it. I do plan on doing some paper things tonight, but I really want to finish this page because I haven't finished it yet, and I really want to actually finish it. I'm sorry that the stream was late tonight. I was dealing with Addie and um, Bella. At first, I thought that Addie was going to be on the first portion of my stream because she wasn't asleep yet, but I'm pretty sure she's sleeping now. She's being silent right now, so I assume that means she's sleeping. Either that or she's just starting to drift off. Either way, she's not crying and she's got a cup and Bella's up there with her, so either way, she's fine. I'm feeling pretty moody tonight. I'm gonna bring up the last page, that way I have references for crap. Hey David, Yoshida, welcome. How are you feeling tonight? Damn global warming. Do 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 this old shark. Do 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 do. This old shark, he does magic. Do 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 do. Bracadabra with a knick-knack, paddywhack, bang bang. This old shark swims through the sea. Amazing! Magic show. This old shark, he does magic. Do 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 do. Bracadabra with a knick-knack, paddywhack, bang bang. This old shark swims through the sea. I don't know why I suddenly started singing that song. Hi, Neela. Welcome. How are you feeling tonight? Also, your story sounds nice. As soon as I color in a few more things, I'll show you guys what I have so far. Right now, I'm working on the coloring, so it's not like this is going to take too long. What's this cover of, like, what song? I actually I have a Vocaloid song set as my ringtone for this month. And I think I may have had it as my ringtone at another point as well in my life, but whatever, I don't care. I love the song anyway. I love Electric Angel. It's one of my favorite songs, not just Vocaloid songs, but just songs in general. It's a very happy, positive, upbeat song, and it makes me smile like a lot. I think I should listen to it more often, like when I'm sad. I mean, I don't just listen to it when I'm sad. I listen to it when I'm happy as well. But like when I'm sad, it makes me feel better. Okay, I don't know what that means, Neela, but thank you for sharing. I'm planning on being Entrapta from She-Ra for Halloween. The one from the new She-Ra, of course, because I love Entrapta and I love She-Ra, the new She-Ra show. I haven't watched any episodes of the original She-Ra series, but I've seen clips of it and everything. The animation's pretty awkward and kind of stilted, but given that it's an animated action cartoon from the 80s, I understand why the animation is well, the way it is. Not to say that it's bad animation, but let's just say that the new She-Ra was definitely an improvement in many ways. It had very good animation, it had very good storytelling, and it had very good there was something else it had. Oh yeah, it had really good characters. And I love how it continue how and I love how what it did with the villains, like especially Catra. Catra is one of my favorite characters. I think in ways she kind of reminds me of Spinel from the Steven Universe movie because of her mental instability and her toxic behaviors and her unstable relationships and her severe abandonment issues and how like her mental breakdowns. I'm not saying that they're fun to watch, but I do find them fascinating. Okay. Oops. There we go. I don't know what Battle for BFDI is. Yeah, I mean, I got into Vocaloid when I was like, what? I think I was 14, 15 years old. Either way, I was a pretty young teenager. So, I do know what you mean about the golden days. I'm sure, like, I don't remember when Vocaloid was invented, but I'm sure that I don't know it as long as most other people do. I haven't known it as long as them. That's what I meant to say. There we go. Oh, really? I think the first Vocaloid song I ever heard was Tell Your World. Yeah, that song is really, really beautiful too, and it makes me feel happy. Not just because it brings me memories and nostalgia, but because it's a genuinely beautiful song. Yeah, I'm drawing. I'm trying to finish this comic page on my phone before I move to paper because I want to finish this page. This is what I have so far. I don't know if you can see. My favorite comedy movie. Um, Let me think. Uh, I think the Lego Movie and the Lego Movie 2. Those are comedies. I like the Lego Movie franchise because, for one thing, they're brilliant and they're expertly written. And for another thing, the Lego franchise, they have always had a very unique sense of humor. Like, a lot of the times they come up with jokes that I've never seen in any other movie, and a lot of the times they also use old jokes, but they do something to them to either make people self-aware of their cliches and how they're presented, or they do something new with it to make it like cliche but still fresh, because you can still make something that has cliches in it, and you can still make those cliches feel fresh and new and all that crap. It is possible. Thank you. Oh, what did she bake? What kind of desserts did she bake? I like World's End Dance Hall too. It's a very epic song. I just love the hop and step and may I have this dance? This is the world's end. Shall we do the 1 2? And all that stuff. It's a very catchy song, and I just love I just love how it sounds. I have no idea what the song is about itself. I've heard many interpretations and theories. I think maybe at one time I did find out what it was really about, but I don't know. I think I might have forgot. Something about two lesbians who are planning to commit suicide or something, but they're having one last dance before the world ends or something. I don't know. Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of what that could possibly be off the top of my head, but anyone else who wants to guess is welcome to. And then we'll have a moment where I'm just like, oh yeah, of freaking course that's what it is. Oops. I made a whoops. I've got to fix it. Also earlier I was binge watching season 4 of Nanatsu no Taizai, which is it's a Netflix original anime. It translates to the Seven Deadly Sins. That's just pretty much what people call it, but the Japanese name is Nanatsu no Taizai. Season 4 is currently on Netflix, and I'm glad because I've been eager to watch it. It's for those of you who have never heard of it before, basically it's about this group of warriors. This group of knights called the Seven Deadly Sins, who many years ago were framed for crimes that they didn't commit. And they all went their separate ways and went into hiding. And then the princess of one of the kingdoms in their land, Princess Elizabeth, she finds the leader of the Seven Deadly Sins, Captain Meliodas. He is the dragon sin of wrath, and she basically says that she needs his help. So together they start a journey to find the rest of the Seven Deadly Sins. Well, Nanatsu no Taizai is a really great anime. I was hesitant about watching it because I was afraid that I would like it and I wouldn't like Happy Tree Friends anymore, but you know what? I liked it and I still do like it, but I don't like Happy Tree Friends any less because I have gotten so much better at having all of my interests coexist at once. I don't need to hyper focus on one thing, and I can be interested in all different kinds of things without necessarily abandoning one or the other. But just a warning, if you don't like things like partial if you don't like things like nudity or violence or swearing or just mature themes, then I don't recommend it because it's an action fantasy anime, so there's violence in it. My favorite card game? Uh my favorite card game probably Go Fish or Garbage. It's a game where or maybe I think that's what it's called, but basically you have 10 cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you basically you have to have them flipped all so the numbers and symbols are facing downward. You got to have them flipped upside down, and then you take turns flipping over your cards, and you have to get them all in numerical order, and whoever gets all of their cards in numerical order wins. Yeah, hyper focusing does have its perks, but has um it also has its drawbacks. And it's really not good to hyper focus on one thing because you uh then you wind up obsessing, and it's not really healthy to obsess over anything, really. I mean, I'm not saying it's the end of the world or anything like that, but it's just better to not hyper obsess all the time. Okay. I'm just going to check this page over before I close it out. Yep. Oh yeah, I like Cards Against Humanity too. That's a funny game. I haven't played it in a while, but I remember playing it with my cousin and my aunt a couple months ago. Okay. Till death do us part, but we're already past that phase. This is a brand new start, and I think I deserve some praise for the way that I am. Despite having overdosed and ending up comatose, I don't give a damn. I've let my emotions go, fuck being a sober hoe. This is the mantra, this is my life. You're playing with now till the end of the night. Surrounded by fire, the passion ignites. I head in the heaven and now a hell of a high. I'm addicted to the madness. This hotel is my Atlantis, and we're never gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave your soul a burning, I'll be breathing it in. I'm addicted to the feeling, getting higher than the ceiling, and we're never gonna want this fucking feeling to end. Just concede and give in to your inner demons again. Yeah, I think there's also a Harry Potter equivalent of Cards Against Humanity. I know there is because I see this guy on TikTok play various card games, and one of the things he's played is Cards Against Muggles. It's just basically Cards Against Humanity, but it's Harry Potter themed. There's also Cards Against Disney, which is basically what I just said, but it's Disney themed. Thank you, David Yoshida. I don't know why, but as a kid, I always loved Go Fish. It was just such a simple game. I could understand the rules, I liked playing it, and I had fun, whether I was winning or losing. It felt good to win, it felt bad to lose, but it's not the only parts of a game. You can Right now, I'm coloring one of the last pages that I've made for my Two Sides comic. I haven't been sketching any new pages because I've wanted to catch up on all the pages that I've already created, and I'm pretty much almost done with that. I think after I'm done with this batch, I'm going to start taking pictures and editing them together with music so I can put out the next part so people will finally stop asking me because it's making me feel guilty that I've been procrastinating for this long. I wonder if I should join an LGBT amino. I mean, I already am part of an LGBT group on Facebook. I've met some creeps, some nice people. It's just kind of hard for me to like tell people that I'm not interested in a relationship. I just want to make friends, that's all. But I can be in an LGBTQ plus group because I'm part of that spectrum because I'm ace. And ace is part of the LGBTQ plus. It's part of the plus side. Now you found love, but you fell deeper in this pit, while death rains from above. So count your blessings, 'cause this is it. You're not letting it go. So what if I misbehave? It's what everybody craves. You already know. We could have it all by the end of the night. Your money and power, a sinful delight. I had in my heaven and now we're hella high. I'm addicted to the madness. This hotel is my Atlantis. We're forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave your soul a burden. I'll be breathing it in. I'm addicted to the feeling, getting higher than the ceiling. And we're never gonna want this fucking feeling to end. Just concede and give in to your inner demons again. I'm addicted to the sorrow, the buzz ends by tomorrow. There's another rush of poison flowing into my veins, giving me a dose of pleasure that resides by the pain. I'm addicted. I'm dependent, looking awesome, feeling helpless, and I know I'm raising Cain by every highway in hell. Maybe things won't be so terrible inside this hotel. I think one of the creepiest questions that was asked, that someone asked me when I joined the LGBT group on Facebook, one of the creepiest questions someone asked me was, "Am I a virgin?" It's like, why do you think that's something you can just casually ask in a conversation? Like, what parent or friend or sibling, who in the world taught you that it was okay to just casually ask that in a conversation? Like, that's gross and cringy and just awful. I'm sorry. I don't really care who you are, but in my opinion, that's not something that you can ask so casually in a conversation, especially if it's someone you just met. But people are like, oh, well, this stuff is completely normal for people who are looking for relationships. Yeah, you need to stop being so judgmental of other people, and you need to realize that some people actually enjoy this stuff. Yeah, I get it. I get it. People do actually enjoy the stuff that I currently oppose myself to. But come on. How is it complete how does a person even think that it's remotely okay to just casually ask someone a question like that, especially when they just freaking met them? It's freaking disturbing. I don't care who you are or what you think. That's creepy. And now I'm just gonna have people like okay, I get it. Whatever, blah blah blah. Or I'm gonna have people who are just like, wow, you're such a wuss. Everyone asks that questions in conversations. It's totally awesome and it's totally perfectly 100% normal. No, that's not. If it's so normal, then why don't people ask that question like all the time in more conversations? If it's so normal, then why don't I hear anyone drop bombs like that in conversations? Because it's not normal. It's not respectful. I got a Warhammer. Like, seriously, if someone asked you that just randomly before you just met this person, have only had a short conversation with them, and all of a sudden they just suddenly ask you out of nowhere, are you a virgin? That's just fucking creepy. I reiterate, I don't care who you are, that's not normal. And if someone thinks that's normal, they are lying to you and you need to slippy slap them silly. I'm just kidding. Don't actually slap someone. I mean, unless you need to defend yourself. Look, point is, don't actually just go up and slap someone. I'm just kidding around. But seriously, I don't get why anyone would think that that's a completely okay question to ask under the circumstances, under any circumstances. It's just fucking gross. Has anyone else had moments like that where someone you met online asked you weird, creepy, or disturbing questions that were just not needed or very appropriate? Anyone? Good. I'm glad that you haven't had to go through that. I'm sure girls have to go through it more than boys. Not saying that boys don't go through that, because boys can get raped too, or even um, stalked online or whatever. Just that stuff can happen to boys too, but I think statistically speaking, it happens to girls more often. Yeah. I still haven't gotten your gift, Mila, but don't worry, I'm still waiting. I'm just hoping it didn't get lost in the mail or sent to the wrong address. That would just be unfortunate. Well, that's good. That's not necessarily the same thing, but yeah, it's a good thing that they understood. I had a bad experience one time with this new member on Amino. She had her real face as her profile picture, which, whatever. I had that going for a while. It's not really that too much of a red alert, but it's still against the guidelines technically, but no one really called me out for it or anything, but eventually I did change it to something that wasn't my face. Um but like, she kept sending pictures of herself, not inappropriate pictures, just like casual selfies and all that. But I kept reminding her that face reveals weren't allowed on the that amino, even in private chats. And I guess eventually she just didn't want to hear it anymore and she just left the conversation. Yeah, because God forbid you actually follow the rules and respect the guidelines. That would just be completely unreasonable and completely horrid. I feel bad for leaders and curators on Amino and in different other social media websites. Like, a lot of people are just so mean to them for no reason. It's like, oh yes, they are such a boring person, or yes, they are such a terrible person because they're doing their job. Their job. They're not enforcing the rules to make you feel bad or to take the fun out of Amino for you. Without those rules, everyone just would be practically running around the community with their heads cut off because they think like, there's no rules, we can do whatever we want. And then we'd have people who do things like join the communities just so they can spam porn images or whatever, and they would just get away with it because there would be no rules. I know that there are people who can genuinely be killjoys, but that's not what any of the leaders or curators on the Happy Tree Friends Amino I've seen do. Like, I've never seen any of them being killjoys. They're just legitimately doing their jobs. People think that if someone follows the rules and respects their elders, they're automatically a bore, they're no fun, or that they're a killjoy. No. A killjoy is someone who takes the fun out of everything, and they go above and beyond the rules, and they just say everything is off limits, nothing is allowed, blah, 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 blah. But if someone is just genuinely following the rules or enforcing them or reminding people of them, they're not being a killjoy. They're just genuinely concerned, and they want to make sure people know what's okay to do and what's not. I mean, without rules, people would get hurt more often. But for some reason, there are just children and even adults out there who think that all rules do is ruin things and take the fun out of everything. Well, it's not fun when people are getting hurt or spammed or hacked or being put in danger because they're talking to someone online who is not what they say they are. Hi, Sugar Cookie. I haven't seen you in ages. It's nice to see you. Sorry I'm not as enthusiastic. I'm trying not to yell because my sisters are sleeping, and also because I'm not in the mood for yelling because I'm cramped up. That's kind of a weird question. I mean, not a question, but a comment. That's a weird comment to make. Like, overly sensitive people are cute. I mean, I get what they were trying to say, but for some reason that's a little uneasy feeling. I understand why you became inactive on that Amino. A lot of people do, and I understand why. Personally, I can't see myself leaving or becoming inactive on that Amino anywhere in the near future. But it's okay because I respect other people's decisions. Oh, and I just love people who say that they're going to leave just so they can get attention. That kind of makes me wonder. If I told people that I was going to leave, I wonder how many people would react and how many people would be sad. I'm not going to do that. So, like, if I ever do say something about me leaving, it'd be genuine and not just something for attention or just something for a joke. But I don't see myself doing that anytime soon, if at all. But all I'm saying is that's just not right. People doing stuff like that for attention. No, I don't technically have them as pets. They live in different homes. Lucy lives with my grandma, which is fine because grandma lives alone and she needs company. And Misty lives with a man who my friend Holly knows, and when we moved, Holly helped me find Misty a home, so that's where she lives now. I haven't seen her in a while, and I haven't seen Lucy in a while because I haven't been to my grandma's in a bit. But I still go see them when I can. I think I've only visited Misty like once or twice this year, which is sad. I miss them. We couldn't take them with us because our landlord of this house doesn't allow pets. We didn't buy this house. We're just renting it for a while. Mom signed a year lease on it, but it's pretty obvious we're going to be living here for more than a year because it's not like we can just suddenly pack up and leave a year later because mom signed a year lease with our last house and we lived there for like 5 years before we finally left. And that was only because the landlord wanted to sell the property. I'm addicted to the sorrow when the buzz ends by tomorrow. There's another rush of poison flowing into my veins, giving me a dose of pleasure that resides by the pain. I'm addicted, I'm dependent, looking awesome, feeling helpless, and I know I'm raising Cain by every highway in hell. Maybe things won't be so terrible inside this hotel. Yep, that's exactly right. I haven't met a lot of people who say that they're going to leave for attention. But I have heard of people actually genuinely leaving. Like a couple years ago when I first joined the Amino, this member who I didn't know for very long, she left genuinely and everyone was really sad about it. I was kind of sad about it. Not as much as everyone else because I didn't know her as well, but from what I remember, we had pleasant conversations and stuff like that, and we drew stuff for each other. I remember she made me a fan art of my Flickby just eating my organs. Ugh, I can still remember it. I like the song Addict. Not only is the song frickin' fire, but I love the animation in the music video and how it actually gives us more insight into the characters in general, like Angel Dust and Cherry Bomb and Valentino. That's the name of the demon who was assaulting Angel Dust in the music video. His name's Valentino. He's, for those of you who don't know, he's Angel's boss, his pimp, if you will. And I've never heard of a real life situation like this, but I've seen it in like crime drama shows like Law and Order SVU. But when a person works as a prostitute or a stripper and they have a pimp, oftentimes their pimps will be extremely abusive and controlling of them. I've never heard of a situation like this happening in real life, but that's because I don't hang around people like that. Not that I hate them or anything, but I just don't see myself doing stuff like that. Look, point is, I'm sure it happens in real life too, because otherwise, why would they portray situations like that on TV and all that crap? But yeah, Valentino is extremely abusive to Angel Dust, as most pimps in fictional media actually are to their clients. I mean, not clients, but employees. I mean, I could probably ask my mom if she knew anyone in the past who was being abused by a pimp, because my mom actually, when I like before I was born, my mom worked in a strip club as a cocktail waitress. My mom's never actually been a stripper. She just has worked in one as a cocktail waitress. My mom has never had a job in her life that didn't involve waitressing. But you know what? That's okay. I'm sure being a waitress is a very easy job. Yeah. I think I saw news from Vivzy that Has-Been Hotel is coming to TV. I don't remember what channel, network, or whatever, and I might have misinterpreted this as like it being for a streaming service or whatever, but I'm sure if you go to Vivzy's Twitter or Instagram, you'll be able to find more information. It's vague from what I remember, but still, she's pretty much conveying the message that it's not just going to be a YouTube thing, it's also going to be like a TV thing, which would be good. I also can't wait for more Hell of a Boss. I still like Has-Been Hotel better because of how much more heart it seems to have. But I think that Hell of a Boss also has some heart. It's just that Has-Been Hotel has more heart. It has more emotional moments and less. It has a lot of black comedy, but I saw in the pilot there were some moments that were genuinely touching and they weren't ruined by comedic moments or stupid throwaway black comedy jokes. Like when Charlie was sad about her hotel not being successful like she wanted, and Angel Dust was trying to make a joke about it. When he saw that she was genuinely sad and she wasn't in the mood for his jokes, he did genuinely seem like he felt bad and he wanted to comfort her and help her, but then he decided against it because he avoids emotional relationships with people or demons, whatever. They're not technically people anymore, but you get the idea. Point is, there aren't really moments like a lot of moments like that in Hell of a Boss. Not really, anyway, which is fine. It's not really meant to be an emotional series. It's meant to be a comedy series that's kind of like Brandon Rogers' videos, which is fine because Brandon Rogers helped her write the script and everything, and he also voices one of the characters. But I like Has-Been Hotel more because it has more heart. It does have a lot of potential. And yeah, you do have to be careful of Karens. I've never met a Karen in real life and I don't want to, but I'm sure I'm fated to run into one eventually. It's inevitable. For the past few days, I've been constantly asking other people what they think the male equivalent of a Karen would be called. I was given some possible names, but I don't know. None of them really stick as the male equivalent of a Karen. I would say Chad, but that's actually more equivalent to like what you would call the dreamy guy in every cliche teenage romance ever. Chad is also a term used by freaking dirty incels. Most of you guys probably don't even know what that is. It's spelled Incels, but if you want to take off the S, it'll just make it a singular one. Incels is plural. Most incels are guys, but there are female incels too. Kyles. Maybe. I kind of view the name Kyle as more of a name for like a character who's either not taken seriously, not appreciated, or someone who's like a stupid throwaway character or whatever. Really? He doesn't give off any incel vibes at all. He gives off Dib gives off vibes of an obsessive. Dib is not an incel. He's just a kid who's both selfish and not selfish at the same time. A Tumblr post I saw says that Dib is selfish, but at the same time, he cares way too much about certain things. He's selfish because his main reason for wanting to expose Zim is to get approval from his dad and the rest of the world, but mostly his dad. And he also does it for like fame and fortune and all that. And I'm sure he's also doing it because he wants the earth to be safe, but for the most part, it just seems like he wants to do something, he wants that to happen so that people can recognize him as not a crazy person. So he cares way too much about the opinion, he cares way too much about the opinions of others, and he also cares way too much about how the world perceives him. That's pretty much the same thing. Never mind. A Kevin, huh? Maybe that's it. But no, Dib is not an incel. For one thing, he's a kid. He can't be. He's an underaged child who doesn't even have a girlfriend or any interest in having a girlfriend. So why would he be an incel? And for another thing, he's again a kid. He's a young prepubescent kid. He doesn't even have that mindset yet. There are just so many factors in why Dib is not an incel. For those of you who do not know, an incel is someone, usually a man. I'm just going to explain what it means in the sense of like a man incel. A male incel is a man. They are extremely sexist and extremely gross people. They view women as sexual objects, not as people. They view them as objects and nothing more. Objects for their pleasure. They don't care about their feelings, their opinions, and their thoughts. They just view them as objects and nothing more. A lot of them even believe that there's no such thing as rape because, like, in the Constitution or the whatever, it says that man is allowed to have what he wants that makes him happy, and if sex makes him happy, well, then the other person's opinion is apparently null and void. And I'm just like, oh, so if a man drags a woman down an alleyway and beats her almost to death just so he can force her to do something that she doesn't want to do, and she's crying and begging for mercy, that's not rape? Yeah, okay, whatever. Your logic is flawless. Not. And women who have boyfriends, they call them Stacies. Even if their name is not Stacy, it's just the term that they have created for them. And they think that these Stacies are not deserving of love because they didn't choose them. And they think that the women didn't choose them because they think that the women think of them as ugly, when in reality they didn't choose them because they're either not interested or because they are blatantly sexist. Hi, Casey.
Hi, what are you doing?
I'm streaming. I'm drawing and talking.
Oh, I want to grab something.
This is my friend Casey.
Hi.
She's also my mom's friend, but she's my friend too. Well, obsession is an unhealthy thing too, but it's good that you stopped because it's not healthy to obsess over anything in general, but if you're obsessing over a person, that's just mega unhealthy and super creepy, no matter what gender it's coming from. People are just like, oh, well, girls can't be creeps, men are the only creeps. That's where I say you're wrong. Women are just as capable of being obsessive creeps. It's just that we don't like to use the term creep for women because we have just become so evolutionarily developed to the fact that we usually associate the word creep with a man who is a quote unquote creep. And we call girls who behave like that, we call them psycho or bitch, etc., etc. But either way, it's all the same thing. We've just associated certain terms to certain genders because that's just what we've grown used to. But anyway, back to the incel thing. The incels, they also refer to, they have another term, and it's Chad. They call men who have girlfriends Chads, and they think that these quote-unquote Chads are tricksters that have tricked some kind of system, and that's why they have women. But that's not true. They have women because they treat them like people, and they care about their feelings, not because of anything that has to do with tricking. They just have women because they treat women like people, which an incel would not understand. Because they don't view women as people, they just view them as objects. And if they assault a woman, they won't see it as assault. They're just going to see it as taking what they believe is rightfully theirs. I don't know what a woman incel would do because most, like I said, most incels are men. But I think a woman incel would basically also treat a man like an object, but not in the same way. She would most likely treat him as her wallet or her freaking slave or pet, and she just walks all over him because she would think of him as a coward or whatever. I think that's what a woman incel would be, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure if you go on the dark web, which I don't recommend you do at all, you could probably find an incel or two. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend going on the dark web, like, at all. I'm just saying theoretically you could probably find an incel or two. But I've never been on the dark web, and I never will go there. I've heard enough horror stories about the dark web to know that I will not cross paths with it. Oh, that's just Casey getting some ice. That doesn't sound like Steve Harvey. Yandere Dev is selfish. I don't follow Yandere Dev excessively. I've watched maybe 2 of his videos, maybe just a couple, I'm not sure. And I don't know anything about him as a person, so I wouldn't know, and I can't really say. I don't trust anything about the dark web. I've never been there, but just the name and the stories that my cousin has told me about it, because she's been there, just the stories she's told me is enough to give me freaking night terrors. That's why I just stay away from it. You should always stay away from dangerous things, or at least try to stay away from them as much as you can. The dark web is something that you can and should avoid at all costs. Don't buy anything from the dark web. Don't talk to anyone on the dark web. Don't allow any permissions for the dark web. Just don't go on there, because by going on there, you might have already accepted permissions and crap, and you don't even know it because you didn't even click a button. Because just by going on to those websites, there are things like malware and spyware and adware and all other kinds of wares that can just automatically leach themselves into your system on your computer, on your camera, and they can be watching you through your camera and whatever, and you wouldn't even know it. You didn't click anything, you didn't agree to anything, but just because you went there, you've already attracted several parasitic infections on your computer that can freaking stalk you, and you wouldn't even know it. You'd be putting your life in danger and your safety and your privacy, as well as the safety, privacy, etc., of those around you. Is this a YouTube channel, Neela? I have no idea. Well, it's okay to. There's nothing wrong with having a big nose. You're fine just the way you are. I mean, if you want to get plastic surgery to make it look smaller, then you can go ahead and go for it. But you shouldn't feel insecure or bad about yourself if you don't like it. If you want to change it, go ahead, but don't let it control your life or anything. I mean, at least you have a nose, right? Yeah, good thing I will never find myself watching any of those unpackagings. The most unpackaging videos I've ever seen comes from Camila Cuevas opening stuff from her P.O. box. Maybe I should have a P.O. box or something, I don't know. There's another rush of poison flowing into my veins, giving me a dose of pleasure that resides by the pain. I can't wait to hit the hay after this. Why would he be offended because he's black? I mean, white people have big noses too. I swear. I know that black people have rights to be offended by certain things, especially racial slurs and stereotypical labels that are tossed at them like horseshoes. But like, holy crap. If someone comments on a body part of yours, it's not always because you're black. I mean, not every insult thrown at you is because you're black. I mean, if someone's commenting on the shoes you're wearing, that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you're black. It's just your shoes. If someone comments on the hat you're wearing, it just has to do with the hat, not because you're black. Not everything directed at them is an insult towards their skin color, race, religion, whatever, etc., etc. They need to learn to dissect which ones are and which ones aren't, because not every insult thrown at them needs to automatically be labeled as, it's because I'm black, isn't it? I probably don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not black or whatever, but I feel like maybe that's something that needs to be fixed, because you can't always pull the whole "it's because I'm black, isn't it" card. Some people are just genuinely calling you out or commenting on something else, and it doesn't have to always do with your skin color. I mean, if someone comments on the fact that you're a jerk and you genuinely are a jerk and you just don't know it, they're not saying that, oh, because you're black, you're a jerk. They're just saying that you genuinely are a jerk. It has nothing to do with your skin color. Not every comment or insult, etc., thrown at you is thrown at you because of your skin color. So stop thinking that. Just pick out the insults that are directed at you because of your skin color and the ones that aren't. Not everything is related to your frickin' skin color. Okay, good night. Yeah, it was great to see you again, and I hope you can come back another time. Earlier, I was making a sort of speech at my cousin, not because of anything she did, but it was just one of those political rants that I decided to go on. I commented how self-entitled Americans are, and how just because we're American, we either get away with everything or we think that we can get away with everything because we're American. It's like, oh, America dropped bombs on a certain place and it resulted in the death of many innocent people. Whatever. They're American. What can you expect? But if it's another country like, oh, I don't know, Japan, people are automatically in an uproar saying, death to all those dirty Japanese people, or something like that. America poisons the water supply. Oh, well, fine, whatever. It's Americans. Russia poisons the water supply. Oh my gosh, those Russians are dirty freaking whatevers, and we need to kill them all because they all need to suffer. Are you seeing what I'm saying here? Because a lot of Americans, including our own president, I believe, thinks that we are just the superior race, country, whatever. If we did something so outrageous and bad, no one would say anything because we're Americans and we built up this status as far superior than all the others just because we're stupid Americans. But then when another foreign country decides to do something bad, or they do something bad, whatever, everyone decides to comment on it and say mass genocide. No. I'm not saying that Americans have actually done that. I mean, I'm sure Americans have dropped bombs places or have sent bombing or whatever, but I'm not saying that we've actually done that. But I'm just saying that if we did do a lot of stuff like that, no one would say anything. But if a foreign country does it, it's automatically the end of the world, and we need to eradicate all of them, apparently. I'm not saying this actually happened. I'm just saying in a figurative sense. If all that stuff happened and Americans did it, no one would say anything. And even if someone did say something, nobody would care because apparently Americans are so freaking invincible that nothing can touch them because we've just built up this status quo of being so much better than every other country just because we're freaking Americans. But the moment another country does something bad or screws something up or whatever, we automatically think that their whole race needs to be terminated. It's freaking stupid. And you can't even say that I'm wrong. You can't even say that that's not how the world works nowadays. You can't even say that that's not true, because it is. That's basically how the world works. Don't even tell me that that's not how the world works. That's pretty much how it works nowadays. That's how I see it anyway. Okay, bye-bye. Enjoy your dinner. Hi, Mom. Are you okay? Let me guess, after you've gotten completely hammered?
Probably.
Save some for people who drink it to enjoy it, not because they're depressed.
Yeah. I'm sure in the next couple of days we'll probably have Susan will probably have a police escort here to get things. A police escort? It's getting that serious? It's over and it's just over. Okay. So,
Sorry to hear. Wow, police love them. All right, I am officially caught up with all these pages. They're all colored in. And now I just need to start sketching more. Yeah, I know who John Wayne Gacy is. I don't know all the extensive stuff about him, but I do know who he was and what he was known as, and I even know what his request for a final meal was, because he was the manager at several KFCs before he died, and so his final meal was a bunch of KFC and a pound of strawberries. I don't know how much KFC, so that's why I said a bunch. Whew. It's like he was trying to give himself diabetes before he died. Actually, his infamous last words were "kiss my ass." Wow. Update, 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 update. Hmm. Bowie, Bowie. That's yeah. I think his clown persona was Pogo the Clown, because that's not freaking vague and annoying. But I'm pretty sure that name wasn't vague and annoying back then, because back then that would have probably been fresh and original. But nowadays, if we hear a clown with the name Pogo, Bobo, Bubba, whatever, we'll be like, oh yeah, stereotypical clown name. Yeah, woo. But back then, I'm pretty sure it was more original because it was the olden days. And nowadays, we look at all that old stuff like, oh yeah, cliche, stereotypical, blah, 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 blah. I actually think I'm going to start cleaning up for the night. It's going to take me a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to just start cleaning up my stuff, because by the time I actually feel motivated to draw, it'll probably just be close to whatever. Besides, I'm not really in the mood for drawing paper stuff anymore tonight. I just want to do my dishes, go back downstairs, and I just want to do my dishes, go back downstairs, and get ready for bed. I actually did a similar project in high school for my sociology class. I had to do a report on an infamous serial killer, and I just chose Albert Fish right off the top of my head because he was one that I was already familiar with. And the only things I knew before going in was that he was an infamous serial killer, and he was known for being both a child rapist and a cannibal. And one of his victims was a 10-year-old girl named Grace Budd, and he wrote a letter to her parents explaining in the most horrible and vile ways in which he killed their daughter. And his serial killer nicknames, just to name a few, were the Boogeyman, the Werewolf of Wisteria, and the Brooklyn Vampire. I'm pretty sure he had more, because he was one of the worst ones of all time. I mean, there are serial killers, but there are some serial killers out there who are just absolutely freaking ruthless. I mean, they're all ruthless because they're all serial killers, but some are worse than others. Like Eileen Wuornos. She was an American serial killer, but holy crap, she is nowhere near as bad as Albert Fish. For one thing, she didn't kill as many people. And for another thing, I don't really think she has a much higher status quo because of her low body count. I don't know. I think she killed like 7 or 8 men at point blank range by shooting them. And she, the Gray Man. How could I forget that one? Of course. Go away, fly. No one needs you. She killed them because she said that the men who she killed had either assaulted her or attempted to rape her while she was working as a prostitute, which fine, whatever. But point is, you still killed people, so you still got to go to jail and you still got to pay the price. Her request for a last meal was just a simple cup of black coffee, which is kind of funny because a lot of the times nowadays we as humans we joke about like people who drink black coffee. They drink just straight black coffee. A lot of people say like, "Oh, if you drink straight black coffee, you're a freaking serial killer or you have no soul." Mythical creatures? I would say mermaids, but I already know that those exist. I don't know, maybe a unicorn? But I have a feeling that if we ask for these things to exist, they're not going to be the way we imagine them because a lot of the times these mythological creatures, we paint idealized versions of them in our heads and in popular media. I'm sure if there was a real life hippogriff, like from Harry Potter or whatever, it wouldn't be as amazing or as humane as it was in the movie. It would probably be something more terrifyingly realistic. So I don't know. Each mythological creature has things about it that would be cool and awesome and magical and mystical, but at the same time, we also got to think about what consequences and like bad things they have about them, like how fairies and sprites can be like mischievous and can even cause problems for people. And dragons, yeah, they look cool, they fly, but they also breathe fire. Unicorns, yeah, might be mystical, magical, whatever, but I don't know. They have a horn on their head. You never know. If they charge at you, they could poke you, stab you. Well, it's about a couple minutes until midnight. I think I'm just going to end the stream off here. So thanks, guys, for watching. Sorry it was late. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Saturday, hopefully, which is tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.